I have received some backlash from pastors and different things.
Oh boy.
It's interesting the types of conversations I have with my elderly parents who feel like some of this is borderline and sacrilege, and I
Oh
get it, I
boy.
understand. But again, I feel like God has called me to redirect people, especially young people's minds, back to His Word. So
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to Heart Prince of Lost podcast. We are your favorite trio, Amanda.
Sophie.
Kristen.
We are so grateful to be back with y'all and so grateful for an amazing guest that we have today. We are bringing forth the voice of the widower.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot
Right.
as widows, and we've had some amazing widow guests on. And
Yes.
we did have our widower, Mr. Huff, last season.
Yeah, our first one.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so we are committed to bringing the voice across the spectrum of what everyone experiences. And one of those voices that's often, the voice of the widow tends to be
Louder.
yes, than the widower.
Yeah.
And both are very underrepresented in our
Right.
communities as a whole. So we recently, well, it was really months ago at this point, had a live, and we had a widower on, and he was seeking support and trying to understand, as a widower, where do I find my community? Though he felt comfort in our community, we have heard that since we've started our community. So we love to bring the voice of the widower, and today we have a special guest.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah, so we are bringing Mr. Michael to you today. Michael, welcome to Heart
thank
Prince
you.
of Loss.
Hello, hello.
Hello,
We are so
hello.
grateful that you are here with us today. Like mentioned, we love to bring the voice of the widower, and we are going to be talking about some creative things today about getting through the healing journey and your widow or widowhood, widower or
Yeah.
widowhood.
Okay.
So, Michael, we like to start by asking our guests to just introduce themselves, tell us about yourself, tell us about your spouse, whatever you want to share. We are open to listening. This is a safe space, and we just want you to get to know you a little more, and then we'll talk about your journey and your creative healing journey.
All right. Thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you, Sophie, for reaching out and allowing me to have an opportunity to share my perspective of what we see guys who are dealing with loss of a spouse. And I just appreciate the opportunity. Um, my name is Michael Awani. I'm a father of four first. And recent widower. So my story is maybe a little different from a lot of guys. I was kind of thrusted into. I was one of those hands-off type of fathers. With the recent loss of my wife, it's kind of allowed me to get more familiar with my children in different ways.
Wow.
Seeing the different dynamics and personalities that they had that I may have missed. So, a little bit about myself. I am a Christian, or what you would call like a clean comic, a clean comedian. So I do stand up. I do like different biblical skits in like more of a revitalizing way, and trying to modernize the Bible so you can kind of see yourself in Scripture. So
Wow.
I try to make Scripture come alive. Now it's not. Don't crucify me for this. Everything is not necessarily biblically accurate, but there's a goal. there's an underlying motivation for that because I want people to go back to the word and look it up to make sure these things are so. Like I'm portraying different characters, I'm doing different things. Obviously, David didn't have a cell phone. Obviously, right? But again, I want to make it relevant and I want
Yeah.
to promote the Bible as this one-stop shop for all your needs because
Wow.
it's the Word of God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could get your
Amazing.
drama, you could get your entertainment, you could get your comic
Wow.
relief, you could get your romance, right? Because you got Songs of Solomon in there, you got
Yeah.
Yeah.
different things. So the Bible for us in these days and times should be our one-stop shop. We should
Wow.
be able to see ourselves in Scripture, and we should be able to guide ourselves through the Word of God. And I try to do that in a positive way. I know I have received some backlash from pastors and different things.
Oh boy.
It's interesting the types of conversations I have with my elderly parents who feel like some of this is borderline sacrilege, and I
Oh
get it, I
boy.
understand. But again, I feel like God has called me to redirect people, especially young people's minds, back to His Word. So I'll stop
Wow.
there. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but um,
No. That's
Such an
amazing.
innovative and
Yeah.
creative way, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's exactly what we're talking about. And I actually wasn't expecting that your humor and stand-up comedy is related to the Bible and faith and Christianity. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, just a little bit of
Awesome.
backstory. Like I know we've been friends on Facebook, I think just through mutual people,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
and you're in Huntsville, right? Huntsville,
I
Alabama?
I am around that area. We've since moved a little more north, like right over the state line. But yes, that's my area, Huntsville, Alabama. That's my like primary location.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
through, my loss there with Brian in Huntsville,
Uh huh.
Alabama, and sharing mutual friends, and that's
Yeah.
how Michael and I connected on Facebook. And
Yeah.
I didn't even know that he recently lost his wife because we don't know each other personally, but
Okay.
just looking at just sharing, just seeing some of the things that you've been posting, I was like,
Yeah.
wow, yeah, he's a recent
Yeah.
widower. But I think the thing that that was the highlight, right? Every time I see you post something, it was something humorous. And so we kind of just got together and was like,
Yeah.
I think he kind of deals with it in a
Yeah.
his creative way is
Yeah.
humor and
Yeah.
all of that. So kind of just a backstory there.
Yeah.
Why don't you would you like to share about
Oh,
your beautiful wife, your late
yeah.
wife?
Of course. Let me see. I'm trying to see where do I begin and how in depth that you want the conversation to go, but I'll try my best. My late wife was my partner in every sense of the word. I mean,
Yeah.
whether we partnered up in ministry, which we had our own marriage ministry called Joined at the Hip Marriage Ministry.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
she was so much a part of what we were so ingrained in what we were doing together and what God was doing through us that everything we did operated under the vision and what God had revealed to us as a couple. So to the idea that where I currently reside in the country, we bought a piece of property just for with the understanding of bringing people together, especially families and married couples, to get them away from the city, to redirect them and get them into a peaceful state of mind, to enrich their lives through different retreats.
Oh,
We
that's
were
so
in the
cool.
process of building cabins and different things to
Wow.
lodge and house families and couples, so they could come away from the city and just kind of recalibrate and
Yeah.
refocus on what God and hear God's voice more clearly. And
Right.
she was one of those women who was on board. I mean, some of the stuff God gives me, I'm telling you, it the average person would look at it like, "There's no way God told you to do that." So you need to you go back to the drawing board. But my wife was
Yeah.
one of those women who like, okay, if you saying that God directed you to do
Right.
that, I have so much faith in God that he would not send me a man that would mislead or
Wow.
take me down the
Honesty.
wrong path.
Good
And
for
she
her. I'd
followed.
be like, are you
Yes.
sure God told you? Are you positive?
That's deep. I love that.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was one of those ones. I'm not gonna lie. She was one of those ones that allowed me the laterality to be everything that God wanted me to be in Him.
Wow.
Right? She didn't.
Yeah.
There, I mean, I'm not. Obviously, she wasn't perfect. There were times where there may have been a misalignment in not the vision, but the direction or the path towards the vision.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we've had conversations around that. I mean, but ultimately, she saw what God was doing through me, and she stood in agreement with my leadership. So that's a little bit about her, but she had her own gifts and talents. She was a licensed health coach as well as a goal specialist. So she would take women specifically and do interventions for self care, like journaling.
Wow.
She would get them out in nature. She would have these natural brunches, I guess, where
Uh-huh.
she would feature like 30 different types of juices. She was really big into juicing and a more
Yeah.
natural, simplistic way of lifestyle. So
Right.
she was passionate about seeing people reach their goals, seeing people achieve better health outcomes. Her educational background is in public health. So it was just a lot of things that she did and the gifted areas that complemented my gifted areas. So she was more than a friend. She was
Right.
more than a helpmeet to me. And our children take after a lot of her characteristics. We see a lot
Yeah.
of
Oh,
God's
beautiful.
good graces through her. So that's what brings me comfort when I look at them. When in times where I'm not aggravated with them and I'm not frustrated with them,
Well, you
I
have
can see
4.
the good. Right, I
Four
have 4 of them.
kids?
So
Yes.
Yeah.
you can
Wow.
imagine.
How old
You can
are they,
imagine.
Michael?
Oh, that's a great question. I had one turn 17 on the 22nd. I'm losing track
Wow.
of the dates. So 17, 14, one turn 14 on May 4th, May 22nd, May 4th. I have a 12-year-old boy and a 10-year-old boy. So 10, 12, 14, 17.
Wow.
Wow.
Everybody said wow in unison. What is the unison wow? What is that about? Yes, wow. Wow is yes. Yes. It is
Wow.
interesting. It is nonstop being pulled in 4 or sometimes 5 different directions.
Right.
Yeah.
Have an overbearing father who's Nigerian, so
Whew.
he has his own kind of influence over my life, and he still treats me as a child in some types of way,
Oh
and he's
boy.
always asking me to do things for him as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like my time is being split, but again, God knew that this situation was going to happen. And what brings me joy about, I guess, if you want to talk about the silver linings, is I'm able to move forward and be motivated because I know the conversations my wife and I had prior to her transition, right? We talked about things. We were open. It was a safe environment to share our frustrations, our fears, our apprehensions as it relates to what God's calling is over our lives. So we were able to talk about a lot of difficult conversations, right? About what's going to happen if she unalives or if she passes. What does that look like for the children? What does that look, but what boundaries do we set to safeguard them and protect them emotionally? So
Wow.
we were able to, it was difficult. We were able to talk through those things. And I thank God that we created and harbored a safe environment to share and exchange ideas
Yeah.
Right.
without feeling like we're being judged or feeling like there would be any retaliatory actions taken. So, uh,
Wow.
my wife set the tone definitely as it relates to being able to share and creating a safe environment. So that's another thing. We had excellent communication.
That's beautiful. So
Yeah.
you all
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah.
what that may look like in the future for you as
Yes, you did.
as a single parent when she's no longer here.
Right, right. But I'm gonna share something with you because I think it would help your viewers to know that all the conversations were not positive. Actually, to be honest with you,
Okay.
um, in the sense that you may think, some of the conversations centered around boundaries. Some of the conversations were you better not talk to such and such woman after that. I better not I better not find out in heaven or in the next life that you talk to somebody you know I can't stand that person. You better
Oh my goodness.
we were able to have some like fun banter about that, and
I
I
love
get where she was coming from.
it.
She was dead serious though. It
He
sounds
said this
funny,
was
but she
no
was
play
like,
play.
don't do
No
my
play
kids like
play.
that. Don't I see how such and such looks at you? You better stay away.
Oh,
Oh.
I'm
she
not
know
playing.
better. Oh, you better take
Oh.
heed,
So
Michael.
yeah, she was one of the ones. I'm telling you, like there was nothing off limits. We talked about everything, and I believe that's what helped us. We were married 18 years. That's what helped us.
Wow.
That's what helped us stay faithful. It helped us
Mhm.
safeguard our union. There were boundaries that we put in place
Right.
from past relationships that we
Mm.
discussed. We're constantly working and improving the process as we go along. But we didn't have all the answers. There's no real rule book on marriage per se. We
Yeah.
have the Bible as our example, and we have self help books like Five Love Languages or Love and Respect, and different books like that, and the 4 seasons of marriage. We have books, but at the end of the day, the day to day, what happens, the little things, all those different impressions that you go through
Yeah.
from day to day, that's what makes up your marriage. There's obviously ebbs and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
flows, ups and downs, but the beauty about it is when you're aligned with someone and you have the same point of reference, the same value and belief system, it could be a joy, and that's what we have.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. I love it. So go ahead.
No, I just was gonna ask how long have you been a widower?
It's okay. So October 30 of last year is when she took her final breath.
Hmm.
Um, it's still
That's very early.
obviously
Yes.
You're
yeah
still in a
yeah
very early
yeah
grief
Right.
yes
season.
Right.
Yeah.
absolutely I
That's,
am,
Yeah.
and
I mean, we've
so
had a couple years,
yeah.
you
And he's
know.
saying of
okay
2024, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
October. Wow.
it's only been a couple of months.
yeah a few months here, um, and then the circumstances of her passing it had some tragic things around that. I don't know everybody's story on the panel today, but hers was that she was battling a health challenge since 2017, but everything ramped up 2 years prior to her passing. So from what would that be 2023? No, excuse me, 2022
Mm-hmm.
to when she passed in 2024. Those last 2 years was when
Hmm.
she actually started like chemotherapy, and that's when things started changing. She was doing fine until she started that. I think
Right.
that's
Hmm.
when the fight of her life began. The last 2 years of our
Right.
marriage together. So things were different. I There was a lot of transition and movement in our home. I had to step down from a client executive position so I could
Mm-hmm.
be more present with her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Financially things look differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of different things. And as I look back, even in this moment, I could see the hand of God in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though at the time it was a traumatic time for us, everyone.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
Right.
So that last 2 year stretch, we're looking for glimmers of hope. We're looking for
Mm.
we're trying to hold on to the promises of what God's word
Mm-hmm.
says about above all things, I want you to be in good health and to prosper. So
Yeah.
we're
Right.
claiming the promises of healing over her body. We are in a posture of expectancy as believers, but that's hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're
Absolutely.
seeing what's happening and in real time, what you believe and what you pray for
Right.
is not the expected ended result that you get. And
Right.
managing that on the back end is the challenge because we
Yeah.
have children, and I'm trying to instill to them the principles of faith, the principles
Right.
of obedience and trusting in God. And when you're praying and you're interceding and you're fasting, you're not seeing the hand of God move the way you want him to move. He's still moving,
Still
but he might not be
moving.
moving. He's doing something, but you don't know what he's doing. And
Right.
that's the uneasy part as a Christian. That's where it
Right.
becomes, that's where you get silent a little bit and you kind of reflect in and try to figure out, hey, God, what are you saying in this moment? What are you trying to tell me?
Yeah.
So those are the things that I get a little concerned and worried about for my children, especially as they're trying to put all this together and navigate. When I look at them and I look at some of the newfound struggles I'm seeing with them as
Right.
they're dealing with this, as they're going through the grieving process. Me as a
Right. Right.
parent, as the only parent left, I feel a little helpless. Outside of grief therapy, there's no rule book on there's no
Oh,
instructions on what I need to be
absolutely
doing as a
not.
father.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm finding myself at a loss. Do I intervene? Do I'm struggling with that. To be
Oh,
transparent. 'Cause,
well,
yeah.
being a few years in with
Uh,
teenagers myself, and I think
Yeah.
Kristen and Sophie, I mean, we all have children, can relate the struggle of parenting day to day
Yeah.
and when to intervene, when to, discipline, set this boundary, that boundary, and when to just allow them to grieve and recognize they're going through their process. It's definitely will be an ongoing thing, I
Yeah.
would
mm,
imagine,
Yeah, and then it's they're going through their hormonal stages too
Oh,
because they
yeah.
got puberty. They have so many other things. So sometimes we might think it's grief, and it's just simply them
Hormones
growing up
and a
and
teenager.
yeah, being a teenager. It's school. It's so many other things that come into play while they are grieving.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of different things, and
mm,
it's a struggle.
Yeah.
mm,
And I think that is why we talk about the importance of the different things that we do to heal and grow
Yes.
and help navigate through
Yeah.
this journey, because it is a journey, and it will be a lifelong journey for us. So the things
Absolutely.
that we do to help us through to include community connection, the different creative things that we do to
Too.
heal,
Yeah.
which could include
mm,
humor and journaling and movement. We talk about those things
Yeah.
frequently. And again, finding a community. So I wanted to touch on a couple of things, Michael, before we wrap up. One is
okay.
your children. You did touch a little bit on your children, but were they brought into that communication
About their mother.
before mom, like the communication you all were having? What did that look like for the kids? And I asked specifically because I know, in my personal situation, my husband was ill and our children did not know. And so it may be a little bit different for you all, and just kind of want to hear your perspective and how that went. And then I don't remember the other question, but I'm sure it'll come back to me. But can you touch on what that looked like for your kids a little bit?
So just to answer one of your questions was, were my children brought into, I guess, uh, were they aware of my wife's illness? I guess I think
Yeah.
that was, yeah. So
Yeah.
they were very aware, so much so that we involved them every step of the way. When it happened, they were praying. Obviously, they were fasting with us.
You did say that. You said they were
Yeah,
fasting and praying about.
yeah. We had our kids because we want them to see what faith looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize. I'm getting a phone call from my kids as we speak,
It's
right?
okay. No
So
worries.
I had to decline the call. But yeah, no, we if we felt like if we So, like,
They
yeah,
keep calling.
Just like
they're,
children.
Yeah.
they're actually gonna
Just like
keep.
children.
They're probably gonna keep calling. At least I have one daughter like that. She's just really OCD. But we feel like if we've excluded them out of the process, then it would not give them opportunity to understand real time faith and what that looks like and
Yeah,
how to
that's
Wow.
develop it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if so they were very aware to the point where they understood when mom came back from chemo sessions what she's gonna need. She's gonna need some peace and quiet. She's gonna be very tired because it's
Yeah.
draining on her energy levels. So let's give her some space. Let's not bombard her when she comes home. Let's not ask her to take you to this friend's house or that friend's house or Uber you
Yeah.
around all weekend. Mommy needs to rest and recover. So they understood what mommy was dealing with. They helped her juice every day. She had like a regimen that she was following, like protocols and different things. So they were very on board and aligned with a lot of things that she had to do just to maintain and just to make it to the next day. It was a group effort in the home. And so we let them see that side of our marriage and our family life. And the other part is, I think you were hinting at, were they privy to the conversations of after if she was to pass, what that looks like moving forward, right? With
Right.
maybe taking on a new wife, or maybe entertaining other women, or whatever
Right.
that looks like. We did not leave. We did not. They were not privy to that conversation for very good reason. I don't think they would have the capacity to understand that really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For in their minds, it's mommy, mommy only. There are
Right.
no other women. What are you
Right.
talking about? That
Right.
kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So we strategically left them off of that conversation, but um, I do believe that at some point, as I get back out there eventually, or by the grace of God, I do believe that that conversation is necessary, obviously, and
Yes.
Right.
I,
Yes.
I'm, I'm I'm trying to find the words or the strategy on how that's going to look like, especially with my two daughters, because they could be very protective of their father
Of
and
Yeah.
course.
Oh,
very
absolutely.
dismissive of anybody outside. I'm trying.
Oh.
My son's not so much. I don't foresee a problem with them, but I'm really concerned about my daughters
Sure.
as it relates to that.
Sure.
So um, hopefully
They
I
may
answered
have the
both of your
same
questions.
feelings their mother had about some of the
Yeah.
women.
Oh,
Like,
oh,
Dad.
ooh, if we had time, I could tell some stories about some misunderstandings that have taken place,
Ooh.
and how they responded. So I already know that they're not gonna be ready. They ain't gonna be ready for this type of conversation. No. So, uh,
Awesome.
so hopefully I answered your question in regard to the
Yeah.
children. Um, them, these kids are different these days. When you say that, I think I can't. Especially my girls. My girls are first, so the 17 and 14-year-old
Right.
first, and then the 10 and 12-year-old boys are second,
Boy.
and they're a little more oblivious than the girls. The girls think they know everything. You can't
Ooh,
Oh,
know
two
yeah.
nothing.
teenage girls.
Uh,
Oh, bless
Yes.
you.
they don't let nobody get close to me. They were saying, okay, I'm a, there was I was coming to pick them up from school one time, and one of, I don't know if it's a faculty or a teacher or somebody was saying something about me. It's like, who's that? Or some, they inquired about me. Is that your dad? And they were kind of showing interest or something like that. And one of my daughters kind of went off, like she was like, "What are you talking? What are you talking? Why do you keep asking about my father or whatever?" And she was sharing it. I was like, "What?" Are you? She came to the car annoyed. If this lady don't stop talking about you, I'm tired of her talking about you.
She got some
And I was
fur.
like, "What? What did she do?" I was like, "She was just asking." No, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about that. Like, what you making me? I
She
think it
said
was making
tread
her feel.
lightly.
Right.
Yeah. So I already know it's just this is no fly zone. It's already.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have to just maneuver differently
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
that one. Yeah. So
What?
In due time.
In due
Yeah.
time, for sure. They'll probably come around in due time.
in due
May not
time.
be anytime soon though, but in due time.
So wait. So I can't help but to sense that the timeline for women is quite different than the timeline for men as far as getting
Absolutely.
back out there. So I
Yes.
want to hear some. Can I ask some questions? I
Of
want to hear. Am
course.
I allowed to ask questions?
Of
I
Sure.
want to
course.
hear. I want to hear from Sophie first, and then I can't remember your name to the top right because your name's not on the lower third there. I don't remember your
It's
name.
Sophie, Amanda, and Kristen.
Okay, so Sophie, Amanda, and Chris. We'll start with Sophie. What is a? I want to hear from the women. What is a reasonable timeline before you start getting yourself back out in the field?
Ooh.
Everybody's different. I don't
Uh-huh.
think there's no rules around
Okay,
that. Everybody is different. We all share different experiences as far as timeline is concerned.
okay,
Brian's been gone for 4 years now. He
Yep.
died in
Just hit
March of
2021.
2021, right? And I didn't start dating until 3.5 years. I didn't open up myself to like the thought of it until like it took me 3.5 years
okay.
to kind of, I shut down like my whole body, mind, emotion kind of shut down from the thought of even dating or anybody, any man. Just the thought of any man touching me was disgusting. So my body, some people body just totally shut. I didn't
Okay.
have any of the desires.
Yep.
I
What
got you.
about you, Amanda?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I would
thank
agree.
you.
Everyone's timeline is different. So I
Different.
would
Yeah.
not even compare yourself to anybody.
Yeah.
And if you're inquiring, this is something that I heard when I was, thinking maybe, I don't know. I went to one of my widow community groups. We had like a dating club, and I was like, I just want to like hear what the people are saying, like what that looks like. And the leader was like, if you're thinking about it here, wanting to hear about it, you're probably ready, like to at least explore.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's comparative because literally everyone is different. Some people, in order to work through their grief, want to hop right out and get in a relationship. Some people really, really take time. I too took a while. It wasn't until I'm around the same timeline as Sophie of June 2021. And it was 2023 August when I was like, okay, like,
Yeah.
later 2023 when my girlfriends and I agreed, like, all right, I'm going to get on a dating app and really didn't start dating until like 3 years in.
Okay.
So yeah, but
Everybody's
again,
different.
everyone's different. Some
Yeah.
people want to, like get their heart filled again right away. And I will say in my groups too, the men absolutely hop right because they're like, I need a mom for these kids. Like I need, so I have noticed a difference in men and women.
Yeah.
That, men kind of move along a little bit quicker. I think women are naturally a little more emotional and things like that. And maybe men are a little more logical and business and like,
Yeah.
okay, well, we got to move on in life, But yeah, that's been my observation amongst the groups, but everybody's different. Everybody is absolutely different. And I think that we, here we definitely agree that it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay to be open and willing to move forward, find love
Yeah.
again. You're perfectly capable of loving two individuals, your late spouse and another individual. Your heart capacity
Yeah.
is
So
you'll
large.
you'll learn and experience the capacity of the heart and how our hearts are just different now and expanded, and there will always be that love there, and it's okay to have love again.
Yeah. For sure.
Okay.
And I always say, if God placed somebody in your life, I'm heavy on I love love. Love is love. And definitely everybody's journey is different. But if God placed somebody in my life a month after, I'm not worried about what nobody has to say because this is my journey. So a lot of times people fear somebody saying, oh, that was quick, that was that, but they're not in our journey. They're not in our space.
Yeah.
So if God placed somebody in my life next month, to help me along my journey, I'm gonna do that. I'm not worrying about anyone else. So and I hope somebody else could, feel that same way. Like heavy on I'm not worried about you. What you got to say.
Yeah.
But heavy on if God placed you in my life, I'm gonna do that. And I don't know how long it'll look like for, that individual, but maybe I needed that for that time. You know what I mean? And that's how I
Yeah.
feel.
So really no right or wrong
Yeah,
answer,
it's-
Michael. It's
yeah.
your journey.
Yeah, it's definitely however you
Embrace
feel
your
whenever, if
journey.
you, like Amanda said, if you're thinking about it, you might be ready.
You might not want to bring
at least
around your
explore.
daughters.
And
Yeah,
you know what else?
yeah, and that's different too.
Yeah, to at
Like
least
everybody
explore.
don't have to be around your kids,
Yeah.
but
Right.
you might start, and then that's when the conversation, like I might, want to start dating and this, and that, and it's on your own time.
And you know what else I learned and picked up along the way?
What's that?
If you realize like, oh, this isn't for me, or I actually am not ready, then
Then
That's
you have
okay,
that-
too.
you
it's
have that
okay. Then you
Yeah.
go backward.
Yeah.
You're not committed, or like
Yeah.
this doesn't mean this is the end all be all. Now you're
Yeah.
there. Now you're committed. It's like, okay, maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I
Right.
don't want this, and you can just stop.
Yeah.
Get off the
Yeah.
app, or or
Or just let it
dismiss,
go and
let it
just
go,
walk
whatever
away.
the case may be. Free yourself.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So yeah.
Very good. Very good thought. I have one more. Do you mind if I ask one more question?
No,
Okay.
we're totally here.
I know you guys are in the wrap up phase right now. So, but my last question would be, what is the expectation, or how have you handled the in-law situation now that your spouse is gone? How connected are you with your late spouse's in-laws? Because I feel a little guilty at times for not reaching out as much as I did, because the link between me and them was obviously my spouse, but they're still very much a part of our lives because they're my kids' grandparents,
Right.
and they need to connect and feel connected to her
Yes.
through them. And sometimes I feel very guilty of not being as available and accessible to my in-laws.
Gotcha.
Is that something that some of you guys ever struggle with, or is that just something in my mind that I created?
Yeah.
I think for me, my in-laws are still very involved
Okay.
in my life. We're very, very close. Brian had
Okay.
one sister, and we've always talked, and we're connected for life. We actually just got matching tattoos, because we're always family. I think for the Thomases, they're very. What I'm very grateful for is they understand kind of like the spiritual aspect of it, and then also the emotional aspect of it. Is like that's her husband, and although that we are his parents and we are his sister, we can never imagine, or we can never imagine what her pain is like to lose a whole infrastructure. So I feel like they're very aware of that. And if I'm gone, if I don't reach out, there are moments where I get exhausted, or I just I isolate, not in a bad way, isolate to just regain energy. But they'll reach out. There's not, they don't feel any kind of way, I've never been in a place where they feel any kind of way. I think everything is just handle with compassion, handle with care, and love. And they always remind me of how important I am and how important they love me. And I'm always going to be their daughter, no matter what. Even if I ever got, give me a husband, they're like, we're front row and center. We're family,
Right.
That's
so
amazing.
I do,
Okay.
I'm grateful. I'm
Right.
grateful for that. My relationship with my in-laws are very beautiful.
Yes.
And the way that it's evolved
Yes.
is even better.
Yes. I
Okay.
would say, first and
Thank you.
foremost, I want to say to you, Michael, free yourself.
Yeah.
Free yourself from that guilt, because that's not your responsibility.
Yeah.
However, and I will say Sophie's story is not everybody's,
story,
and don't
absolutely.
compare to how your relationship should be with anybody. Mine is very similar to Sophie, I will say. I have a wonderful relationship, if anything, closer with my in-laws. They're amazing.
Yeah.
They too understand and they support me every step of the way. I think they too would be front and center, love again, you know, if I ever decide I want to marry again, all of those things. But they and in terms of expectation and them and you being available and accessible, like free yourself from that. I definitely
Totally.
am, just like she said, you know, like if I'm in need my space, they respect that. They are very respectful and understanding of our process, and have been so much more helpful.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put any expectation on yourself. However, I do think it's important because, like you said, the children, that's their grandparents, that's their aunts, uncles, everything. I do think obviously that your children want that relationship still. We all want that relationship still. But where you should be reaching out and things like that, I think it'll continue to grow and develop naturally. I don't want you to feel guilty about not doing what you think you should be doing.
For sure.
They just, it sounds like you're strong in your faith. Understand that, you know, give it to God, free yourself from any guilt, and it will work out the way that it needs to work out in terms of their relationships, y'all maintaining contact. It's not like that for everybody. Relationships do get lost.
Yeah.
So we don't want to paint the picture that like, oh, it's, you know, beautiful. A lot of people lose relationships with their in-laws, and some people can't handle the loss, and the grieving process is really hard. So relationships do get broken, and they don't have that side of the family anymore because that was the connection. So that is the reality for a lot of people too. So don't want to paint the picture that it should be this way, or, you know, but we all have children who want to maintain contact and happen to have really wonderful in-laws, but everyone is not like that. And there is no expectation across the board, you know, like everybody's journey is different. Be kind to yourself in your journey, and think of your children and you and what you guys need. And if they need that relationship, foster it. If it's something that's bringing you down or, you know, not helping, consider that, you know, everything. Consider all the things and what works best for you and your journey.
Heavy on the do what is best for you and your children. For me, my youngest son, because I mean, I know my oldest son, he passed away. So in the midst, after my husband passed away. So my youngest son, he does not even know that he doesn't know his biological father. My late husband, he don't know his mother. So, and I'm not reaching out. I probably will never reach out. And so they have great relationships. I don't. You know what I'm saying? And my late husband, his father passed away when he was younger. So, but any family member outside of that household of like my late husband's mother and the brothers, the ones that do reach out, I receive it and I let my son know them. But no, and I don't care. I just don't, and I'm okay with that. And and being okay with what's best for you, and that's what's you know what I mean. If it's a healthy relationship, and you want that for your children, do that. But for anyone who is listening who don't have a healthy relationship, you have to do what's best for your children and yourself. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at. So you got the good side, and then you got me. And that's okay.
Different.
It's okay. Different. Yeah. So you got the best of the both worlds from us.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate the transparency. Of course. All right, that's all I had.
Thank you so much. We truly appreciate you and your wisdom and your faithfulness to God. You know, thank you.
All right.
Thanks
for coming on.
Thanks for joining us. You take care.
Yes.
You guys
Peace and
have a good rest of the
blessings.
day. Take
You
care.
too.
Bye.